my thing
It's
was
fine.
that my phone wasn't charged up as much as it
Oh,
could be.
okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
I'll keep you for 30 minutes. Hopefully we can last that long.
Oh, okay. If not, I got my cord, my charger right here. Can do
Okay.
a quick plug in, and then I have to do a side view.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
no problem. But let me first say thank you for connecting me with Pastor Willis. Oh my God. When I
Mm.
tell you
Hmm.
that man he warmed my heart, and I gotta reach back out to him because we've been phone tagging each other
Hmm.
with his
Hmm.
schedule and stuff. And I think
Yes, he's a busy
he's
guy.
on the board, right? The deacon board or something like that.
He may be, he's a busy guy,
Yes,
so
he is.
he's into a lot of things, plus, busy with his family
Yeah.
and other projects. So he's not one that just sits around.
I can tell. I can tell because
Yeah.
like just in conversation with him and we were just doing some immediate greetings and stuff like that. That
Hmm.
turned to about an hour and a half, I think. And then
Hmm.
just the knowledge and the
Hmm.
passion that he has for
Hmm.
Miss Roberta Martin and the
Hmm.
history. It
Hmm.
warmed my heart so much because like some of the stuff that he said, I was like, I know that album. I know that album. It was just amazing
Hmm.
just to
Hmm.
hear him. So thank you for that. Thank you
Oh,
so
you're welcome. You're
much.
welcome. Well,
Even you the pictures that you sent and just what we were talking about the last time, you learned me some new stuff, which was amazing. And
mhm.
I went and did some more digging into some things, especially about the concerts and stuff that you guys did in Europe. And I was like, oh, I know that location. Oh my God, I performed there before. So it was amazing to hear those
Yeah.
stories. So that's why I want to talk to you again.
Oh, okay. Okay. Uh, well, I was actually involved in the third trip to
Okay.
Scandal. They call it the ecumenical tour. Uh,
Hmm.
well, but it was the travel group
Okay.
of the choir that went over to Norway,
Hmm.
Sweden, and Denmark. So
Okay.
that was in 81,
Wow.
1981.
Okay.
And the kind of a strange thing about it is most of those people that went on that trip are on the other side,
Oh, wow.
so it's like, okay, you never know how
Yeah.
things go, but most of them is just maybe on one hand, the number of people that are still on this side of life.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, comparing that, well, not even comparing, but bringing that to the project that you're currently working on,
Hmm.
with the restoration and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
how many years in the making has this project been going on?
With the restoration.
Yeah.
Well, we started the first phase of restoration back in 2017. In
Okay.
2017, we were awarded a adopt a landmark grant,
Okay.
and that particular phase, it addressed some things
Okay.
that were needed, like tuck pointing and some other, say, smaller aspects of the restoration work that has to be done.
Okay.
But that we call or consider phase one of the big project,
Okay.
because what we want to do is, beyond the tuck pointing, beyond doing things with there is a separate roof that covers the area where the towers are.
Okay.
So um, there's a repair to that, and then some other, the restoration of the wood doors, the hand carved doors,
Mhm.
that happened during that particular period of time. Now, the windows, the stained glass windows are in a pretty, they're in disrepair. They need to be, they need attention. They need to be restored. And we have 16 windows. They're not,
Ooh.
they're not Tiffany windows, but
Mm-hmm.
stained glass windows
It's
are
expensive.
stained glass windows.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you have to deal with the soundness of the structure itself, which is the steel and what have you. And so we're looking at pricing for that particular project, but we know it's not going to be small.
Yeah.
And then there is a restoration um, to the towers. There has to be some shoring up of the towers and some of uh, the the masonry joists of the towers, and there may be some other things we don't know. But these are two big projects. The windows by themselves,
Yeah.
that's a big project.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a lot of things. We're looking at areas of to uh, involve the congregation, to involve friends of First Church of Deliverance, to invite them in on this project if they so choose to contribute, to look for private funding,
Mm-hmm.
that and that's something that's competitive. However, we think that we do have some good criteria, or we have a good story to tell with
Okay.
respect to First Church of Deliverance. And then say from there, we're looking at the restoration of the murals.
Mm-hmm.
Those murals have been, that was toward the post eras of the WPA, that
Okay.
those murals were in 1946.
Mm-hmm.
So from 1946 up to now, when it was restored by the original artist,
Yeah.
Fred Jones, he was commissioned in 46. He restored the lobby mural in 87 and the sanctuary mural in 92. So in any event, those murals have not been touched or restored for over 30 years.
Oh
So
wow.
that's something that is on the list as well. Um, and there's just other things, flooring, seating. There,
A lot of things.
there's a lot of things that we can add on to the list,
Mm-hmm.
but for now, phase two is the windows, the stained glass windows, and the towers.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
think according to what Pastor Willis told me, you were there at the beginning when the church first at this location when they first purchased it, or no?
No, I wasn't there at that time. I
Okay.
became a member of First Church of Deliverance in 75.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but the church purchased the previous structure on 4315, which was a hat factory.
Oh, really?
It was a hat factory. When First Church purchased that property, it was a hat factory on that property. The structure was a hat factory, and that hat factory was built in 1923.
Oh my
So
God.
in 1933, the church purchased that property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in 1939, Reverend Clarence H. Cobbs, the founder of First Church of Deliverance, commissioned Walter T. Bailey, who who is the first African American licensed architect in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
And when you see the cornerstone of the church, it'll say that First Church of Deliverance, organized in May 8th, 1929, rebuilt in July 23rd, 1939.
Okay.
So the 1939 date, the rebuilt, is what you see currently. The only thing that was added to the structure was the towers, and that was in
Got it.
1946. Okay, but the towers were not added by Mr. Bailey because he passed away in 1941.
Gotcha.
Okay, plus you had two world wars.
You all right?
So with having the two world wars, that, from what I understand, curtailed a lot of activity, and everything was kind of put toward the war efforts. And so this is what say was going on at that particular time.
Okay.
So from there, you also had the what do you call it? In 39, then you had that First Church did have a fire
Okay.
in 1945. It was December of 1945. There was a fire at the church. But the church quickly recovered due to the generosity of some of its, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I understand that he was one of the, I'm not sure if he was a gambler, or I'll have to get you the name.
Okay.
But he came to the rescue of the church. God put it on his heart to come to the rescue of the church with a blank check.
Wow.
And said, whatever you need. And say that's with the uh, restoring and the church on the inside, because the outside wasn't damaged, but the interior of the church. And that's where you have in 46, because the fire was in December 45. So when it was restored or rebuilding in 46, that's where you have the adding of the murals, the wood carved doors, also the two towers.
Okay.
So a lot of things were going on at that particular time.
Okay.
There was what can I say? That was I think that was really a point of renewal
Yeah.
for the church. Um, Things were going on in terms of music. You had, the broadcast, and First Church has been on the air since 1934.
Wow.
So since 1934, First Church of Deliverance has had a radio broadcast.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. So that's that's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
indeed.
So it has faithfully been on the radio or broadcasting. Uh, it was for a long time broadcast live, but then in later years it was recorded and then aired at the 11 o'clock hour, because
Okay.
the 11 o'clock p.m. was always the timing, to my recollection, of the broadcast.
Okay.
So from there, that there were quite a few celebrities that did come
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
First Church of Deliverance that were really, I think, drawn to the church, drawn to the ministry of the church. That when people were really not understanding the concept of gospel music,
Right.
First Church opened its doors to gospel music,
Okay.
not demonizing it, but
Yeah.
embracing it. And you know that the first Hammond organ to be played in a service is at First Church of
I
Deliverance.
did not know that.
Yes, I
What?
mean, I thought that I sent you a copy of some of the highlights that we would use. If I didn't send it to you, I'll send it to you
Okay.
because, say the first blood bank at Providence Hospital, that was something that the First Church of Deliverance donated to
Yeah, no,
Providence.
you didn't send me that one.
Yeah, I'll have to send you that one.
Okay.
So because it talks about um, uh, that the church published its own music for a period of time. Um, you have required to take gospel music to Europe.
Yeah.
We have heard the saying that God cut a road through the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can understand what that means if you know that when they traveled for the first time to carry gospel music over to Europe, they traveled on the Queen Mary.
Yeah, you told me that the last time. I remember that.
They
Yeah.
traveled on the Queen Mary, not Queen Mary 2, but the
Right.
Queen Mary
Yeah.
1. And that's where they cut a road, God cut a road through the sea.
Mhm.
And I can't imagine, how long they probably were on the ship making that journey.
Right.
But then, say, once they got there, but that was in 1966, and
Mhm.
they went back the following year. So there was a long time or a period of time between 67 and 81. But when we went back in 81, we did go by air.
Okay.
So, but there were many concerts that were, say, performed or rendered during that time of going to Europe and back on 66, 67, and in 81. In 81, it was different for us because we did travel by air.
Okay.
But still, once you got off that airplane and that's where the ground travel
Yeah.
started.
Yes,
And
indeed.
we did over 30 concerts
Wow.
on that particular tour. So there was quite a bit. And then, and I know that you said that you've been to Sweden. So have you been to what they call Rålensås?
No, no.
That is a kind of a conference area
Okay.
that the free churches would have certain conferences in there at that particular location. But
Okay.
then there's another conference that they have in July. The one that in Rawlinsauce, that is usually in June. The one in Herna, and I think it's spelled Horo or Hono. I can't remember.
Okay.
You have to go to the Swedish book.
Yes.
But but anyway, they have a festival or where there's a conference that takes place on Herna, and Herna is like an island off
Okay.
from Sweden. But it's very interesting to participate, to uh, you know come to know people in other cultures and other countries
Mhm.
and see how they worship.
Right.
And for a long time, we thought, for example, with Scandinavians, they just sit there, but it helps you to understand everybody's not as outward with
Yes,
their
we are a
worship.
different people. We are a
Yes,
different people.
everybody's not as outward
Yes.
with their worship.
Yeah.
Some people are inward, but I think that with, say, the Scandinavians, they've come out, a bit more uh, from the time that I have been involved with them in different settings.
Okay.
But to to see someone in a congregation or a group meeting or say a worship meeting, and they just sit there, but you don't know what's going on with them.
Right. Right.
And the thing of it is that there's a lot of things happening on the
Yeah. They're
inside.
trying to
That's
contain
yeah,
themselves.
right. And it's for them, it's like, okay, uh, but I think that since 81 that there has been some change. Now, I don't know when you went to Scandinavia or to Europe.
Um, it was in the 2000s, so
Okay.
a lot has changed then.
Yes, there's a lot of change because
Yeah.
I think that they kind of found a way to unlock
Yeah. Because
that.
they're very reserved kind
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
type of
very
people.
reserved.
Yes.
And it's uh, uh, when I had an opportunity and a privilege to talk to people at Swedish TV, you know, that's the Swedish way, you
Yeah,
know.
that's culture. That's the culture.
That's culture, you
Mhm.
know. So um,
So
in
I
our
have one last
conversation.
question because I have one last question because I know I told y'all keep you with 30 minutes and you got stuff to do. But I do
Mhm.
want to come back to this. Were you because I know there's an age difference between you and Pastor Willie's, correct? Correct.
Yes.
So were you did you ever were you instructed or did you take any training under Roberta Martin?
No, my training, say vocal training, came from under Dr. Edna Williams.
Yes, I know her.
She, you know Dr.
I know.
Williams.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, bless her spirit. My training came through her,
Okay.
and that was a God sent. I have the little story that I tell sometimes that I had asked God. I says, "Well, Lord, I need to know, do I have anything?"
Uh-huh.
And so I asked my brother, I said, "Do you know a vocal teacher?"
Mhm.
And he didn't know some at the time, but we were shopping at River Oaks
Okay.
one Christmas season. And he says, "Oh, you're looking for a vocal teacher? There she is." And that's when I met Dr.
Oh,
Williams.
really?
Yes, as they say, God does answer prayer.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And I was under her coaching until she passed.
Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
so it has been a joy to have known Dr. Williams
Mhm.
and to learn from Dr. Williams.
Yeah.
So that is where my training came through.
Okay.
Of course, being in First Church of Deliverance choir, you have some training that comes
Oh, of course.
through that particular area or through the church because you had such um, competent and
Mm-hmm.
really talented, excellent talents
Yes.
that were, say, led the choir.
Mm-hmm.
With Julia May Kennedy, we've talked about her, and Uncle Ralph H. Goodpasture. So it's like that. I think helps to build and to keep the choir or any group on point in terms of where they can go. Plus, these giants were people that had studied themselves.
Correct.
They were writers, composing music,
Yeah.
rearranging music. I'm not sure if I mentioned to you that uh, Julia May Kennedy was also known as Mama Julia. Mama Julia, and I don't know if you probably have heard of Chautauqua.
I haven't heard of.
It's in New York.
Okay.
It's in Upper New York, and I'd never heard that except for someone, Samuel Delane. He's on the other side as well.
Okay.
But he was also one of the featured soloists for First Church of Deliverance, and he was also one of the participants with the 1981 um, travel tour.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you ever heard someone sing He Lifted Me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
Yes,
I know
Sam
that.
Delane. And also, I think one of the first songs that I heard Sam sing when I first came to First Church was In the High Place.
Okay.
I'll bring down, So there's a lot of fond memories of him and many others that have, say, come this way.
Okay.
And let me see. And there's just been so many
Yes.
people that have come through First Church,
Yeah.
whether they were celebrities like Mahalia Jackson, even Della Reese,
Yeah.
Earl Father Hines, Nat King Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, there probably have been so many that I probably
Forgotten
don't know the
some.
history personally,
Yeah.
but that they came through the church. And Thomas A. Dorsey, Sally Martin,
Right.
that's the father and the mother of gospel music.
Correct. Correct.
And so many,
Mm-hmm.
that have been a part of that history of the church of First Church of Deliverance. So I don't know where else we can go.
We can go so many places, but I love going down memory lane with you. It's
Yes.
been I've been learning a lot through this
Hmm.
journey, so I appreciate you as an elder in the community,
Hmm.
sharing your stories and stuff. We're gonna do it again because I love
Okay.
it, and I'm posting these online, and
Mhm.
folks are loving the stories and hearing things about Chicago that they didn't know. So,
Oh yeah. Well, there are so many others that are in Chicago that can add to say what you're doing
yeah,
and broaden the scope as far as gospel music or music in Chicago,
hmm
because there First Church of Deliverance had the distinction and the reputation of being the opera house.
yes, you were. Yes, you were. I do remember that. I do
Yes,
remember that.
being the opera house. But even with being the opera house, there was a variety of genres of music.
Yes,
Wasn't just hymns and anthems and spirituals, but you had the inspirational, you had the gospel.
yes,
So that was the beauty to me of the music history or legacy of First
yes.
Church. Yeah. So
I love this. I love this. So, so yeah, thank you again. And let me stop because I want to share.